Welcome to You Are Cooks Live from Pedrati's Ranch.
Commercial.
And now, please welcome your host for You Are Cooks Live, Philip Chancellor.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome out to You Are Cooks Live. I am Philip Chancellor. I'm extremely excited for this show. I've been waiting for 2 weeks for this one. We have, you can hear him laughing, but it's true. He knows it. We have Chef Brian West. He is going to walk us through the most amazing Italian tonight. Again, this is your opportunity right now, this moment, between when I leave from where I'm standing and get into our cooking set for you to get anything ready to go there in front of you. We know that we had a lot of our viewers out there this time going to the store, getting some of the things that they needed so you can follow along with Brian. We also had a lot of boxes sold coming out from Pedrati's Ranch. So if you are following along, here is my best piece of advice to you. Make sure you are watching the show on a larger device, a desktop if it's there, an iPad, maybe a laptop. An Apple Watch will not work for this performance. You will not want to miss 1 second. As a matter of fact, we're going to get to it here in a moment, because if I listed all of Brian West's accomplishments, we would need to do a 2-hour show. So we'll talk about those things during the show. Don't miss a second. Now, of course, we are live here from the Pedrati's Ranch. We do hundreds and hundreds of events here professionally. They sponsor this show. They make sure that we keep amazing people coming in. We'll talk about additional sponsors a bit later, but let's take one quick look at this amazing facility here at Pedrati's Ranch.
Welcome to Pedrati's Ranch. Pedrati's Ranch since 1993, over 40,000 square feet of space and 50 years experience in the hospitality industry. Our purpose at Pedrati's Ranch is to delight people through excellence in hospitality, food service, and entertainment. We strive to make each and every event an unforgettable experience. At Pedrati's Ranch, we provide more than just a venue. We give you an experience you won't forget. Christmas parties, daytime meetings, fundraiser galas, conventions, and all on-site catering by Pedrati's very own award-winning culinary team. Our purpose at Pedrati's Ranch is to delight people through excellence in hospitality, food service, and entertainment. We strive to make each and every event an unforgettable experience. Host your next corporate event with us and remind your guests they're more than just members of a company, they're family. Book now at Pedrati's Ranch.
Fantastic. All righty, here we are on the set with the man, Mr. Brian West. We're so excited. Now, I told you earlier, we got a lot to do and ultimately a short period of time.
Yes.
So, Brian, guide us through a process, first step.
So we're going to be doing a 3-course dinner of Italian food. This is going to be our first one. It's going to be a bread salad. So back in the day, you know, bread was very important to the Italian culture, and they definitely wanted to make sure they got lots of use out of it. So you've heard the saying, day-old bread. What do you do with day-old bread? Well, this is one of the things that you would do. So we're going to get all of our mise en place. Has anyone ever heard that word before, mise en place, before? Yeah, okay, great. So
All right.
mise en place means everything in its place. There couldn't be a more important word or grouping of words for chefs in this universe that we're going to be going into. So what we're going to do first is we're going to cut up our tomato. We're going to get our onion ready to go, so get that peeled up and ready to go. We'll have our basil ready, and then we've got our cucumbers. So first thing I'm going to do is prep my cucumber and get it ready to go into the bowl. So we're just going to cut the tips off. And there's a cool little thing you can do with cucumbers, y'all. You can either peel the whole thing. The skins aren't very digestible. So one of the cool little tricks that we do in the kitchen is that we will just do stripes on it and just leave a little bit of the skin just for some cool little zebra stripes in there, if you will. It gives it kind of a jungly look, you know, if you will.
I like it. It helps with that presentation thing.
Yeah,
that I'm
it's
always
kind of a
trying
cool
to
little trick.
point out. Yeah, very
Yeah,
cool.
so you'll take that, and then we will slice it straight down the middle, just like this, okay, right across.
Okay.
And then we're going to slice it following the contour of the arch of the cucumber. Now, some people would argue, let's take the seeds out at this point. I do not take the seeds out of my tomatoes. I don't take them out of my cucumbers. I like the seeds. I like the little funky textures that they bring. Also, this is Italian cuisine. So Italian cuisine is very, very rustic and very fresh. So trying to keep it as close to nature as possible as you can. And notice when I grab my knife, I'm pinching it here at the end and I'm holding it very hard. If you use a knife for a long period of time, you'll develop a really nice callus here.
Mark of a pro.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, we always check in interviews. Let me feel your finger. See if you're really a real
Is that a
guy.
fact,
That is
really?
a fact, yeah.
Okay.
Cook an egg and check the little callus on your finger. But you'll also know when I'm cutting with my knife, I'm kind of giving it just a little bit of English. Those of you that play pool have probably heard of this term before, but I'm just giving a little English to make sure if there's any imperfections with the knife, I'm cutting all the way down to the cutting board. Now, don't get stressed out if the particular chunks are too big, too small, anything like that, because we want to have big garnishes, because in a salad, they can sometimes taste very homogeneous. And so with big chunks, you're not going to get so bored with it. You're just going to be able to dig in there and really have some delicious flavors on that. So,
Sure.
Cucumbers in the bowl. Next one is the tomato. Now, I cheated a little bit and I pre-cut some of my tomatoes up, but I'm going to show you a really cool way to cut a Roma tomato that's very easy. I call this the salsa cut because I used to have to make a ton of pico de gallo at a job that I have. So you've got the stem here, and you're just going to slice straight down, just like such, all the way down, not cutting all the way through, so it's still connected.
Okay, so you haven't cut the ends off. I see
Correct.
that. Okay.
I'm going to turn it sideways, and I'm going to allow it with my hand. I'm going to stabilize it. I'm going to cut through again, and I'm going to cut through again. And so at this point, I can now take my knife with that little bit of English, that little diagonal piece,
Sure.
and slice straight down. And I have got
Look at that.
a nice little
wow.
diced tomato. And then I'm going to take this little piece, I'm going to turn it, because in the kitchen, every little piece of waste costs money. So this is our waste right here.
There we go. Look
Okay.
at that.
So got my little bench scraper here, really important. Some of y'all might want to slice those tomatoes and whatnot, and that's perfectly fine. I would definitely practice this move because when you're having to cut 10, 15, 20 tomatoes, trust me, it definitely works.
What a time saver, though.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and time is money. Okay, I've got some of my basil here that I picked out of my master bucket here. I'm going to throw this whole basil, and I'm just going to kind of rip this up and throw it in here into the bowl. This will all come together when we start putting it in the final steps. Okay, last step before we move on to the bread is our onion. So all onions, really quick, all onions are always cut from pole to pole. You never want to go across the equator unless you're doing onion rings. Now, if your onion is like that, don't panic. I'm just saying for future reference, just if you want to go from pole to pole. You've got the stem over here. You'll notice my onion is an arch. I'm going to go and take my knife, and I'm going to do the same thing I did with the tomato, not all the way through. And I see how my knife is diagonal? I'm going to follow the contour of
And again,
that
you've
onion.
left that back. Okay, no, that back
I've
is
left-
shaved. You're just not cutting through. Okay.
I'm leaving it connected. I can move this around. Now, onions are like ogres. They're in layers, right? Does everyone knows that little rule? So we don't have to make any more cuts. A lot of chefs will go in this way, but we don't have to do that. So now I'm going to just slice straight down. And I've got a beautifully cut fresh red onion.
Take a look at our studio audience. They're doing a great job with that, following along beautifully.
Good.
This is what I love about this show, are these great little tips that you learn that save time, and obviously now we're saving product.
Yes,
You're
we
right,
are.
coming from someone with your experience who will go in and show people where they could be losing money, little things like this, it'll add up.
Look at this. This is all I'm throwing
Yes.
away. Little stems and stuff.
Wow.
So I've got this nice little beginning of an Italian pico de gallo, if you will. I'm going to dry this up. The last step to this is we're going to hit it with a little bit of salt. So what does salt do? It's going to bring the moisture out to the surface. It's going to start breaking down some of those vegetables. We're going to just let that move around just a bit. We're going to add a little bit of our olive oil, or all of it actually. This is extra virgin olive oil, the good stuff.
All right, about how much have we added there?
We have got a half a cup.
Half
right
a
here,
cup, okay.
which is 4 ounces. And then the last step here, we're going to slice our bread using a serrated knife if you got it. This is going to go into here at the very end. So we're going to allow this to kind of dry out, but we definitely want to slice it. So how thick? About as thick as your finger. We're going to go straight down.
For those in the studio audience, you've already measured it with your finger before you start cutting. So,
Yes, please.
you know.
These are good
You know.
eyeball tricks again. So on this one, I've got nice little slices. I'm going to put them in manageable stacks. And I might switch over to this chef knife here. Straight down, straight down. Now in a real bread salad, you would just take the bread and you'd rip it to pieces. But we want to have a little more control on this one. So I don't want it to be too big of pieces. So I think dicing it is a better method.
Yeah, that way you know about what each size is going to be on the pieces that you're taking. I get
Yep,
that.
yeah.
Sure, sure.
And then again here. And the last piece here. This is the crusty stuff.
Love it. That's actually my favorite part.
And me too. I've always been a heel guy.
Uh-huh.
All right, so I'm going to let this set in a different container, because the minute I put this bread in here, it's going to start to soak up all of these beautiful juices and oil that's already in here. I'm going to give this a quick stir. All right, so what we've done here, guys, is we've just prepped this salad. So we're going to do 2 phases in today's cooking. We're going to do all of our prep with our mise en place, what we talked about earlier, and then we're going to fire the food, meaning to put it all together, and that should happen very quickly. So when I got my gnocchi boiling and my fritters are frying and all this stuff, I don't want to be messing around with dicing bread and making sure that everything's in the container. So I'm going to set this aside here, down here, for later use.
Absolutely fantastic. All right, you know what? We're going to touch base on someone that's very important to the both of us out there. As a matter of fact, one of our sponsors in the audience today, we want to say a very special thanks to Sysco. Chef, I'm going to let you speak with them for a moment about them, and then I want to talk real quick before we actually roll this amazing commercial from our friends at Sysco.
Yeah.
All right. We're good? Yeah? All right, let's roll it. We'll take a look. You're going to love this special message once again.
Came to town and said, "Show me what you're made of." So we showed it our people, sourcing and distributing more fresh food than anyone. We showed it our drivers, helping grocers restock their shelves. We showed it how we're donating millions of meals to those in need. We showed it how we've helped thousands of restaurants convert to takeout and pop-up markets. And how we're encouraging all Americans to take out, to give back. Adversity came to town. So we looked it right in the eye. And it won't be us that blinks first.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful message from Sysco. And again, they're a sponsor out here today. I know, Chef, that you have a relationship with Sysco.
Yeah, I've been working with Cisco for most of my career, and I love them. They're a great mainliner, and you know, for being as big of a company as they are and having as many products as they do, what I really love most about it is their service. My sales reps, they'll walk a box of straws out to my restaurant if I need it. They really know I need it, and that is something that you just can't really find a price for.
That is fantastic. We get to speak with those folks quite a bit. We do appreciate them being here. As a matter of fact, we'll go out to their table here in a little bit and go and give a very special hello. All right, Chef,
All right.
where are we at now?
So there's a nice little garnish I'm going to add to this bread salad, and that is my pesto sauce. So I'm going to make a fresh pesto sauce. I've got some walnuts here, 1 clove of garlic, about 1.5 ounces of some shredded Parmesan, a little bit of lemon juice, again with the fresh olive oil, and a bunch of basil. So this is a classic mother sauce or a grand sauce of Italian cuisine.
Now, on a pesto sauce, I see not pine nuts?
No, and actually, I'm glad you asked that actually, because when with restaurants, you know, we're always looking to save a little money, and pine
Sure.
nuts happen to be the most expensive nut on the market.
Oh,
and so
okay.
I developed this so that basically I can create the exact same flavor profile and use a little bit less expensive product. So walnuts are going to give that nice fattiness that the nuts will do, and it's going to be perfect. So you can see I put the Parmesan in there already. With garlic, we never chopped garlic, by the way. We just crush it. So we always take it with our knife like this, and we just smash it once.
Easy enough.
Easy enough. That's going to go in there. All of the basil. And then we're going to stream. Let me make sure I got this right.
Now, for our audience watching at home, it might get a little, you might hear the background noise of some of our folks that are cooking in our audience as these blenders go off.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind as you're watching.
Definitely.
It's live, you never know.
So sometimes the pesto will get a little wonky for you. The nuts might not have enough fat in there or whatnot. So while this is blending, I'm going to slowly stream this in. This is called emulsification. And I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of water for some movement. There it goes.
All right, if you're watching that blender, I can see.
So once you got the nice little swirl going like that, we're done. So
Love it.
we're just going to leave that there. So when we put this whole thing together, our pesto is just going to be waiting for us. You guys are running around like heads with your chickens cut off. How are we feeling over there? We okay? Okay.
So we got a few. They're catching up,
We got
Chef.
the
They are
potatoes?
catching up.
Okay, great. Well, then I'm going to move over to the gnocchi if y'all are ready.
All right, now this is an exciting part for me because I've had it a bunch of times, some great restaurants. I don't think I've ever actually even attempted to make it, so I know that you're going to make it look easy for us.
So gnocchi is one of those things that you don't often find in restaurants for that exact reason. It's a skillful thing, and they do make a frozen product. I just don't think it does it quite justice. So I'm really excited here to show you how to make a true gnocchi. So the ingredients we're going to start off with is about 1.5 cups of flour. We are going to have 1 cooked potato. We boiled this potato. It's still a little warm, and I'm going to show you some neat techniques using a potato press. You do not have to use the potato press if you don't want to. You can crush it with your hands, but we're talking about craftsmanship here, so I want to go ahead and get that going. So I'm just going to cut this in 2 parts just to kind of make it a little more manageable. I got my cheese here.
Now, if I wanted to get one of those potato presses, that's something pretty easy to get a hold of, Bed Bath & Beyond or something? Or?
Oh, yeah, you can get it on Amazon, Bed Bath & Beyond, any type of kitchen store. They are
Gotcha.
out there. It will make the best mashed potatoes in the world,
All right.
so for sure. So I've got my flour here.
Very nice.
Got my potatoes, and I'm just going to press these through. So this is where you see the beauty of the potato. I'm going to create a little line of flour, just like this. Okay. And we're just going to press this through. And as it's falling through the air, it's releasing some of its steam.
Look at that. Wow. And you're right, I can see it's nice and fine.
Yeah, it's nice
Doing
and
a lot
fine.
of the tough work for you.
And I'm able to really get that flour in there. So flour is what we call hydrophobic. It actually is obsessed with water. If you have to add a little water to that to get it to move, by all means. It's obsessed with water. And so it's going to really cling to this as we're pushing through it. Now, if you do not have a potato press, don't worry about it. You can crush it with your knife. You can bang it down, kind of mash it together. That's perfectly fine. It's not the end of the world.
Now, Chef, I don't want to back us up a little bit. We monitor questions on our live feeds. Someone had just asked a question about the quantity on the vegetables. When we did the onion, how much onion do you recommend for the size salad that you made?
I did a half of an onion, or about 4 fluid ounces. And when I say fluid ounces, I'm talking about a half a cup. There are 8 fluid ounces in a cup of in a classic cup.
Gotcha.
So about a half an onion on that one.
All right. And as one last question from same viewer, as far as the tomato, we got to see you cut one. We had a bowl here. How many?
I did 4.
4. All right.
4.
Again, a recipe is going to be on the website, but if you have questions, that's what that's there for.
Okay. So we are going to add some egg to this, and we want the protein of the egg. We don't really need all the white of the egg. So I'm going to strain off some of this white. This is an old trick, been done for thousands of years to get this off. It just slips right through.
I've got this fancy spoon thing at home that does this.
Gosh.
You're doing it. I love that.
Yeah,
it's
for
great.
sure. So 1 yolk to 1 full potato. I'm sorry, to 1 full egg.
Okay.
Some little wash here. Excellent. And should add a fork. It's okay.
Both in there. A nice little scramble.
Very simple. Got a little bit of nutmeg in here.
Nutmeg.
Yeah.
All right.
1 full egg, 1 yolk.
Now, using nutmeg. Explain that one a bit to us.
So yeah, it seems a little odd for me just throwing nutmeg into this randomly.
Sure.
The idea is that nutmeg actually brings the potato flavor out. It really does. It makes the potato flavor really pop. So that gives it a really nice, delicious flavor. So
These are the tips. It's a reason why you tune in.
exactly,
I like that.
exactly. So I'm creating a well here. My potatoes are now integrated. I'm going to throw a little salt in here. I'm going to throw a little bit of Parmesan cheese. There are 3 rules to Italian cuisine, by the way. It's cheese, cheese, and cheese. So everywhere you turn, there's cheese. We always say in French cuisine, it's butter, 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 but in Italian cuisine, it is cheese, cheese, cheese.
I'm going to have to write that down. That'd be a tough one to remember. Cheese, cheese, cheese.
Cheese, cheese, cheese. So I've created this beautiful well method, and this is where it gets really fun. We're going to start just integrating this slowly. Now remember I was talking?
1 egg and then just the 1 egg yolk.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
And I noticed you didn't have to beat it very much. You gave it a kind of a whip around, and
I
that
did.
was really it. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't
All
really
right.
do too much because I integrated those eggs in, or I'm sorry, I integrated that potato in so gently. Okay, so we're going to mix this up just a bit, get this into a dough structure. Got our very handy, very important bench scraper here.
No, that is the greatest tool.
It really is. It's a game
Especially when
changer.
you learn how to use it.
Exactly.
Instead of like, oh look, I can undo a screw with it as well with the corner.
And then I'm going to press down with just some parchment paper so I'm not really overworking the dough. So this is a great technique too if you're ever doing biscuits, rather than tossing the biscuits over and over and over again. All right, so this dough is about perfect, and I've got this extra half a cup here, and I'm just going to take this dough, I'm going to roll it up into little logs. This
All right,
is
and
where
that's
it's
the kind of the
become-
consistency you're looking for
Yeah,
there.
and it's going to get even more, a little denser, and I'm going to even add a little more flour as I'm working with it a little bit more.
Okay.
So, and I'm just going to roll this up.
Also, for those of you watching at home, do want to remind you, as always, the moment Chef West is done and this episode is history, we'll have the replay immediately. So you'll be able to go back, recheck anything that you may have missed. Now, You're getting that into your logs there. While he is doing the logs, we'll keep the camera there on you so you can see exactly what's going on. I do want to recognize another amazing sponsor out there. This will be the second time they have sponsored an episode of You Are Cooks Live. Very big thank you to Heart Brand Beef. These folks have been fantastic. I understand, Brian, you have a relationship with them as well?
Oh my God, my favorite beef in the world by far.
Now, I don't want to steal too much thunder from the amazing commercial we're about to show, but in the commercial, the gentleman speaks. He says, if you try our beef, you'll never try anything again. I promise you, they are amazing. But again, let's take a look at this special message from Heart Brand Beef.
One of the great things about Heart Brand for me is having the opportunity to really change a business. One of my main focuses all the time is making sure that we're producing the best beef eating experience that we can do. And that starts with the way we raise our cattle. Our beef is all natural. At Heart Brand, it's a great family business. I have the pleasure of working with my dad. My mom's very active in the business. My wife, the two kids love our golf cart rides in the evening. I take pride in being part of that long-term family heritage. Me and my wife live on the ranch. We live right where the cattle live, just right on the other side of the fence is all the Akaushi cattle. We get to watch them every evening. We have a relationship from the animal all the way back to the ranch. When you deal with Heart Brand, you're buying meat from Heart Brand, you're dealing with the ranch. One of the things that's very important to us is the humane handling of animals. My family's told me, who's ranched these same lands since the 50s, is if we're good stewards to our land, that it always pays us back time and time again, because our land is all we have. We have our land and our cattle. And those are two things that we've got to take care of every single day. So what I always like to tell somebody is the Akaushi experience will change your life. Once you get used to eating Akaushi, you'll wonder how you've ate beef before. Best characteristic of Heart Brand Beef is the eating satisfaction. I do it day in and day out when I go call on a new customer. I tell them, try my beef. If it's not better than the beef you currently have, I'll leave. And I haven't had to leave yet. We sell the beef, not the sizzle. So whenever you try our beef, you realize just from the first bite, that Akaushi experience, that great, wonderful, truly tender, great flavor of beef frankly, how beef's supposed to taste.
And I have got to tell you, that is absolutely true. Heart Brand is absolutely amazing. And this is what I love about having these amazing chefs with us, is especially someone like Brian. We bring these great sponsors, and they know a little bit about everything and everyone. So where are we at here, Chef?
So I am rolling these out into little pretty logs.
Okay.
You can see as I'm rolling, I'm kind of opening my fingers as I'm rolling back and forth. You don't want to get too much flour in there. If you have too much flour, remember the flour we gave you was a little extra bench flour. These potatoes were perfectly dried out, so they're not bringing too much moisture to the table, so you don't have to add too much of that flour.
And I see that it's a gentle touch. It's really not so bad.
Well, that's why you say Italian cuisine was built on the grandmother. It's a nurturing, pasta is a nurturing, like bread making, it's a nurturing soul. Not that men can't be nurturing. I definitely am a nurturing man myself, but it's just, that kind of a deal. So we're going to allow this to kind of come together. And what's happening as it sits is that flour in there is actually finding the moisture. It's actually digging through there microscopically and finding all of the moisture and becoming one unit. So we're going to come back and probably roll this a little bit later, but this is a good idea to kind of let the dough rest, if you will, and just add just a little bit of flour.
And I see that. You're just grabbing a pinch. It's a little sprinkle.
Exactly.
And then that soft touch.
Exactly.
I can see, yes, our cameras are getting that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So if you're good at foot massages, you'll be great at making gnocchi, just so you know. So this is actually the gold standard right here. You can see how this is stretching out. It's just nice and beautiful, and it has a little bit of a chalky surface, but it's still moist in the middle. And like I said, that's what's going to happen as it sits. It's going to actually dry up a little bit more and become more, again, for lack of a better word, homogeneous. Now I've got cheese in here, I got the nutmeg, I've got a little salt in there, I've got my eggs in there for structure. Those eggs, once the flour and eggs hit that boiling water, the eggs are going to activate and they're going to start to thicken, and that's where you're going to get that texture of gnocchi.
Okay.
How's everyone feeling out there? You guys okay? Any
Studio
questions?
audience, how we doing out there? Huh? You're looking good.
You're smiling.
Yeah.
Even the ones wearing masks, I can tell you're smiling. That's great.
That's right. I like it. And this is, again, this is the charm of the show. We get to look out and see actually someone following along
I love it.
with one of our masters. And the more satisfying part for me is when I see that you're doing it. I mean, everyone is really, really doing a great job. So well done.
Okay. So again, if it's looking a little drier, it's getting crumbly in your hands, dip your hands in some water we gave you and just rub your hands together, get them wet, and then roll them in. If it's too wet, add a little flour, okay? So this is not a recipe that's gonna work every single time. So you've gotta be able to know what you're looking for at the end of the day. What we're looking for is a little bit lighter texture than Play-Doh, if you can imagine that. So,
That's a good analogy. Sure.
so I'm gonna allow this to rest. I think I did a pretty good job with those.
I like it. I like it.
And then we are gonna move over to our last dish.
All right, getting ready for our last one. As Chef is preparing for that, it takes a lot to make this show happen. And again, live streaming is something that is magical within itself. So there's a few people out there we definitely want to thank. First off, Wes Denton, Digital Media Productions. He makes the stream happen. He's got the cameras here. So a big round of applause for Wes.
Wes.
He's up there now pulling the last bit of his hairs out because you just never know. And also the lighting, the studio lighting here, our lead cameraman and the gentleman who helps actually writes the whole run of show from Eclipse FX Lighting, Mr. Todd Green. So thank you, Todd. All right, so we've got these beautiful little rolls. We have brought the next piece out. This is everything I'm excited about. I can't wait to get into that salad as soon as the show is done. But we're getting into the third and final phase. So where are we at here?
So right now we want to definitely have our pasta water boiling.
Boiling.
Throw a little bit of salt in there.
Okay.
What do people ask about blanching water? As I like to say, there's actually a real rule of thumb. For every gallon of water, there's 1 ounce of salt for every pound of pasta you ever cook. So that's a good little thing to kind of remember for the rest of your life when you're cooking pasta. We always cook too much or not put enough energy into it. So I'm going to set this off to the side just a scotch.
And once you've seasoned the pasta correct when it's boiling, you're right. It doesn't even take that fine, palate to detect that there wasn't enough salt or there was absolutely none.
Right.
Or if there's too much, you know it right away.
Exactly. All right.
All righty.
So these are the little Carnival ricotta fritters. Absolutely delicious. So it wouldn't be ricotta fritters without ricotta. So we're going to put some ricotta in here, which is a Italian cheese. We're going to put a little marsala in here. How's everyone doing? Oh my gosh, look at those. Those look fantastic over there, Ty. You guys are doing wonderful.
Oh, Ty Heart Brand, I like
didn't
that.
know
We managed to get the outfit back on, and he is doing wonderful over there, Ty. Great to see you.
He looks like a real Italian over there. I love it. All right, so you can see what I did here with the whisk. Whisking is very important, and there's a technique you want to do. Alton Brown created this move right here, which I think is just absolute. I'm like, why didn't I think of that? So what I've got here is my dissolved ricotta. I've got my wine, and now I'm going to add my eggs. Again, for structure. We're going to do 4 eggs.
4 eggs.
It's going to be a nice big batch. So I want you guys to know that with cooking, this is one recipe, but this recipe can be altered. We could throw blueberries in here. We could do all kinds of things. This is, for lack of a better word, a very rustic donut. So if you ever want to impress your neighbors or whatever, have people come over, you can say, hey, I made some fresh donuts for you guys, and they'll completely freak out when they see what you've done.
I love how Chef says rustic donut. Something that Chef does is he does private chef, private cooking. Here recently, you've been on some private ranches doing some cooking for those folks.
Yeah, I do I give a below deck service, if you will. If you haven't seen that show, it's a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but it's really high end.
I love it.
These hunters are heavy hitters. They definitely spend a lot for that hobby and have a good time with it. So we're going to start putting in our sugar here.
All right. About how much we've got there?
We had about a half a cup of sugar.
About a half a cup.
Half a cup of sugar.
Now again, if you're in our studio audience, this was portioned out for you.
Yes.
Another thing that Chef Wes is very, very well known for is your consulting. And
Yes.
my question to you, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to throw Chef off, but he is extremely well respected in the city and in Texas as well. Chef, what do you think, what allows you to believe that maybe you're better suited than just like any, even mildly successful chef to do that job that you're doing with the consulting?
Yeah, so there's an old saying in management, like how do you make good management decisions?
Yes,
For
sir.
making poor ones. So I've made a lot of mistakes in this business, and I've learned from those mistakes. But the number one thing that really kind of sets me apart is that I did work at the Culinary Institute of America, which is the Harvard of culinary schools, and I really understand the fundamentals of cooking.
Yes.
And getting people to those final recipes are really what I can help people do.
Sometimes a lot of people don't realize, yes, it's about cooking and understanding the techniques, but there's also a legitimate business end to this that a lot of people may not, especially new chefs that rush to open a restaurant, may not be thinking about. And I know you come in and help people with menus and where they're losing, maybe some money, or where they could be doing things a bit better in the way of quantities. I
Absolutely.
just know that that's a big thing for you. All right, so we're doing the...
All right, so what we've got in here is just the zest of our lemons and limes. Super important. A lot of people don't know this, but in citrus, 90% of the flavor is actually in the zest. Right under the zest is what's called the pith. That's probably one of the most disgusting flavors you'll ever have in your mouth. So you have to work very carefully not to get the pith in there. And then inside, of course, is the meat and the juice of that as well. So we're going to get all that in there for flavor. So this looks pretty soupy, but we are now going to activate it with a little bit of baking powder. And baking powder is going to give you that fizz. And then finally, our flour. Now, quite a bit of flour. This is not a gluten-free dish by any means. And we are going to slowly integrate this. And the way I like to, and again, remember I was telling you how flour is hydrophobic. It's obsessed with liquid. Not all the flour. We're going to do it one-fourth at a time. If I dumped it all in there, we'd be stirring for about an hour. So,
And you remember our
that's a
first
great question, by the way.
episode. And yes, you know what? Studio audience, if you do have a question, we have Brian here to do that, so just let us know, pass a note on to Anthony as well, or at a convenient time, let him have it. He'll answer. He's good about
Absolutely.
that. Sean Tidwell, Cisco, are you out there, Sean? Just found out you have a birthday, sir. Big congratulations.
Happy birthday.
We do appreciate you here. Also, Joy Pepper out there. Joy, where are you? Put your hand up there. She out there? Very good. Happy birthday to you, Joy. So just recognizing a few birthdays for our studio audience today.
How are we doing on time? We good?
We're doing great, Brian.
Good.
Don't you worry. You're doing great. You're killing it. Perfect.
Good.
Perfect.
All right, well, we're going to have to talk or something because we're almost done here,
Hey,
guys.
that's great. That we can do. The table directly in front of me, I've got Adrienne. Adrienne's great. She comes out to these shows for us, but she also helped us find another terrific sponsor. We showed you the graphic just a little bit ago, but I've got a real brief message that I'd like for you to watch from MD Spine Care.
Hello, my name is Dr. Frank Coolmore. I'm an orthopedic spine specialist. I welcome you to visit MD Spine Care. At MD Spine Care, we pride ourselves in providing the latest in technology as well as innovative care and surgery for our patients with a focus towards wellness, stem cells, and regenerative technology. Come visit us in person or through telemed.
You can just take all this stuff.
All right. Beautiful. Thank you, MD Spine Care. I know they were here earlier and they had to get called away to something, but we'll get to them maybe on a future show. Okay, so, Chef, we've got this mixed up. We got that wonderful zest in there.
Yes.
Where are we going next?
So we are now finished prepping this. We have not fired it yet because this thing's going to cook in minutes. But your dough should be very clunky, for lack of a better word.
That's good. If you're in the studio audience, watch Chef do that one more time.
Yeah.
Because this is important. There you go.
Look at that slow fall, that drip, that dribble, if you will. Now, this is going to sit off again. What does flour do? Do you remember what flour does when you let it alone with liquid? Yes, it does. It looks for the liquid. It's swimming all around like little, I don't know, little animals or something. I don't know what. But we're going to let this kind of come together and kind of get homogeneous. This is something you could make the day before. The only time when this starts to get rough is right after you fry it, because that's when it gets set. But notice how I switched from the whisk to the spoon about towards the end because that whisk was getting really hard to move through there, so I was able to do it. Again, I can't stress it enough, y'all. When you integrate this, just do it in small portions and be patient. So.
Something I've noticed again, and I know I mentioned it earlier, and you talked about the reason for that, but really everything has got such a gentle touch.
Yeah.
The whisking may have gotten a little nutty, but everything he has done has got such a gentle touch. You're really not mashing or destroying anything.
No, it's not an aggressive technique. And again, the key is knowing what you're looking for. You know, knowing what the end product's supposed to look like. You know, had this been a little runny, we would have added more flour. Of course we would have. If we would have added too much flour, we probably cracked another egg in there to make sure it would come together. These recipes are 95% accurate, but you know, there are little variables that can sometimes mess you up on this stuff. So I want to come back to my gnocchi here. This is ready to go. I'm going to give it one more little roll. I'm going to give it a nice little feel. Make sure that we're all set. And I think we are.
All right, here's where we're going to start getting this ready. Now, for those in our studio audience, we go to fire part of this. That'll be done in the industrial kitchen here at Pedrati's.
Yes.
So stand by for that. All right, let's see this.
We've got I've got my water here at a roaring boil, and it has to be screaming boiling. So I have a little saying I created this is when water or stew or anything is at its full boil or roaring boil, I call it screaming. It's just really going as full blast, because if we don't do that, this will start to dissolve and that flour will be like, hey, I love water. Here I go. And it'll start to break apart. So we have to blast it with heat so those eggs will activate and they will seize up, and then you'll get your beautiful little dumpling. The greatest thing about gnocchi is that it's labor intensive to make. It takes a lot of energy to do this. We're not going to get a whole bunch to feed a bunch of people out of this, but it's very forgiving when it comes to cooking. So once it won't overcook. So
And you're right about that boil.
Yeah,
So
it should be going.
this is one area where my wife gets it perfect, because she gets it really hot and when she's cooking and everything goes. So Stacy, this one's okay to get to a boil really quick.
Yeah.
She gets the
awesome.
joke. She
Yeah.
gets the joke. We had her on
Okay.
live with us once.
That's funny. So you see, I'm just kind of popping this out, maybe an inch, maybe it's a half an inch. There's little measurements on your bench scrapers if you want to use it. What I'm not doing is piling this up. I'm not putting these on top of each other because the surfaces are a little tacky, meaning sticky, and they will definitely collage back into a whole product again. Now, next level, once you get the gnocchi mastered, or not mastered, once you get the gnocchi to where you feel confident with it, there's another element we can add to this where we actually roll it. They make these little wooden trowels in Italy where you roll it and you put grooves on this stuff so it'll catch more sauce. Wow. One would argue this is a very old recipe, hundreds of years old, back to the Roman Empire. And one would argue that this is the birth of mac and cheese. If you've ever had mac and cheese, this particular dish, because we're loading it full of cheese and we're putting these really heavy carbs in there with it, this is stick to your ribs comfort food on this.
Very nice. I've got another question coming in from online. Jen asks, tell us a bit more about what Brian is doing currently, like other than right this second, but like maybe where you'll report tomorrow. What is it? Any projects, anything special, anything close to you right now, Brian?
Yeah, well, I do have a show called West Wednesday that comes on every Wednesday, obviously, that I'm working on. I absolutely love it. I'm filming it from my house currently. So that's a big project of mine. And then I also, I do the catering. I do all in-house catering right now. Minimum of 2 people all the way up to about 300 is where I kind of hit her out and kind of pass it to the big boys at that point because it's all craft food. So I do those 2 things right now. Those are my main projects. Let's go ahead and kick this on. You guys are not going to be doing any frying on your station. I think that's a good call for all of us. So I'll be the only one doing that. So we're going to send your dishes back when the time comes. But I'm going to go ahead and drop my gnocchi now. So if you've got that screaming boil, we are ready to drop our gnocchi. Before you drop it, just make sure you've got a little bit of tug here. If it's too loose, that looks beautiful, that looks beautiful, that looks beautiful, that looks beautiful. You guys are all A+. You guys are great.
Well, Holly and Jack out there, they get a good idea. I know that Adrian is good. Ty, he's going to land on his feet no matter what he does.
You got some ringers out there.
New friends over here. Theirs looks great as well. And then, of course, Cisco, they have to be perfect now, don't they?
They do. They do. Okay, Phil, why don't you come over and take a look and tell me what you see?
All right, let's take a look inside here. See them there? We got in the center there. I see some white here. We got that boil. It's not as crazy now.
No, it's slowing down because the water cooled down, but I definitely set that gnocchi.
Yes.
Okay, I set it. It's not going to dissolve. I won. Okay, so at this point,
I won.
it can't die. So I'm actually going to shut this off.
Yes, sir.
The water has a lot of residual heat. This will stay hot for a good 40 minutes. So I'm going to keep this warm. This will only just get a little more plump and maybe a little more dense. But that is where we are going to allow that to kind of sit, and I'll show you the next step after that.
Fantastic.
All right, I'm getting my oil
really,
nice and
really
hot.
good in there. Now, again, studio audience, do remember having the oil and whatnot. We're going to get you fried up there towards the end for the purposes of the show. Obviously, Chef West, and we know that he probably won't set this giant fire, so don't you worry. We'll collect up everything from you folks here in a moment. But this is what Chef West will be doing the next part of his recipe in over here. Oh, I see we got the salad back out.
Yes, the salad is back out, and take a look at these vegetables.
Look
you can
at
see really
this.
what they've changed. Remember that salt really pulled that moisture out.
Yes, sir. Wow,
that's kind of a neat
it's
step.
amazing what like 20 minutes did.
Yeah, it is.
Look at that.
Now, if that bread was in there, we'd be in trouble. We'd actually have a very mushy
Right.
gnocchi salad.
It
which,
would be like
yeah,
what happens to cornflakes if you let them sit for 15, 20 minutes. I'm guessing just kind of soggy and no fun.
I could not have come up with a better analogy. That was amazing, actually.
Thank you.
That was impressive. Okay, so my gnocchis here, my little dumplings, they're just sitting here right there being happy.
Okay.
I'm gonna get my next pan here, and I'm gonna start my sauce. If y'all should have 2 burners, guys, so if your second burner, you wanna get your saute on there.
All right, and he's got about, what's that, would you say, about a medium heat or so? Or
I'm
is that
blasting
high?
it right now.
Okay.
Full blast, but I'm gonna turn that down in just a
Gotcha,
second.
okay, all right.
So while I'm waiting for that to happen, I'm gonna go ahead and mix my bread salad. Let me get my spoon here.
And while he's getting his spoon, I am going to get mine. I am waiting. This guy I'll save for when you are done with this. I am excited for this salad.
What's one of the rules of Italian cooking?
Cheese, cheese,
Yes,
cheese.
yes.
I got all 3 of them. Yes.
Yes, that is correct. All right, bread's going in.
If you're a salad person, you love this. If you're a bread person, you love this. If you're a cheese person, you love this. If you're a vegetable person, you love this. Is there no limit to the man's talent? We just want him back on a later episode.
Yeah, right.
I'm just going to keep on keeping on with
I
it.
always say compliments will get you everywhere with me, so no problem. All right, so we got this nice, beautiful color here. Remember our pesto over here?
Yes.
That is ready to come out.
Look at that. Okay, this is the one we got moving. You got the a little bit of olive oil. You had some water in there.
Yes,
that
I
goes
did.
on. And I know my mom is watching this. She's big into pesto, loves Italian. This will be the first thing she asked me to recreate. So, Mom, don't you worry. I'll come out. We'll do this together. If Stacy and I don't eat all the bread first.
What happened if you did what?
What happened?
Nothing.
No.
I wanna know.
You opened it up. Oh, the bread's in there. You know, it's you went out of order and didn't listen to anything Brian
We're gonna
said.
have to start over,
I'm kidding.
ladies. Wow. Don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. You're going to live. All right.
Look at this.
This just came out. I'm just so happy with this.
Oh, I am happy with it.
This is I'll eat a bowl of this and go back to bed and I'll be done for the day. Get up nice and fluffy after that.
Stacy, I wish you were here. So now, other than the amazing bacon you're going to put on this, that's about as far as we go with it, or is there more?
This is done.
That is
bacon,
done.
Bacon is for my gnocchis.
All right. Oh,
The
okay. I
bacon's
got
for
you.
the
Okay.
gnocchi,
All right.
yes.
All right. So this is fresh. I got to
Jump in there. Get in there.
Thank you. All right. Let's just. Here we go.
What's the point of having a front row seat if you're not eating? What do you think?
Ryan.
Freshness?
Oh,
Isn't it amazing?
absolutely fresh. I love the cucumber in it. It jumps. I got a piece of bread as well. This would be the first thing on it at my home. But here we go. We're getting more interesting. Got some bacon in there.
Yeah. So now I'm turning the fire down. Now that I got me nice and hot here. I've got my bacon in here rendered off with a little bit of butter, okay? And then I'm gonna put all of my heavy cream.
All the heavy cream.
So, what I did with the bacon is it's pretty cooked, but we activated that fat. We got that butter kind of toasty, and now we're letting the cream kind of run down. And also the cream kind of cooled things down and kept it from screaming as much. Got some cheese I got to grate here.
No problem.
Okay, in the cream, we're going to put our cheese. Do not put the blue cheese. You can put every other cheese you have except for the blue cheese in there.
And there was another chef that was telling me when it came to Italian, there was 3 rules. Cheese, cheese, cheese.
And we actually have 3 cheese in here.
Oh, yes, it only took 35 minutes for us to get into a group with one another.
Exactly. We got to do another hour now.
Yeah, we can.
Now we're clicking.
We can.
Now we're clicking. Okay, so this is going to come together. I'm going to slowly let this get all happy and gorgeous. My gnocchis are nice little plump dumplings. They're absolutely beautiful. I'm going to fish those out here in just a bit. I think it's time.
Now, Brian, let me ask you a question again. I keep going back to the salad. The fresh flavors in this are amazing, but let's say I was going to have a dinner party and this was the salad I was going to do. I wouldn't want to put that bread in there and then let it sit for a few hours, right?
Correct.
Keep that separated until I'm ready to serve?
Correct. Keep it all separated until the last possible minute. And then and that's what, salad making is called garde-manger, and that's what we call garde-manger 101.
Aha.
My gnocchis right here, guys, I'm topping them with a little bit of cheese. You know why?
Covering with cheese?
Why are we covering with cheese?
Why is it covering with cheese? Because there's 3 rules.
There's 3 rules.
Cheese, and cheese.
So the one thing you learned today. Okay, so the gnocchi's coming out.
All right, they're in their great little dumpling world. They've all held together.
Beautiful. And I didn't dump these into a strainer. There's a reason for that.
No, that is a good. Yeah. Why is that?
Because if I dumped them into a strainer, they'd probably collapse on each other. The perfect gnocchi was described to me by an Italian chef that I worked for named Frederic, and he told me that they should be little, soft, doughy pillows. And when you put them in your mouth, they should almost dissolve. And if you haven't accomplished that, then you haven't really made gnocchi. So if we dump these into a strainer, because of their texture, I'm going to be in trouble.
It's not going to work.
So
that means if they go in there just a bit wet, it's not going to affect what we're doing here, so that's good?
Correct. That is correct.
All right. I'm guessing. If I'm wrong, you got to tell me.
It's a good guess. All right. I'm going to move these around just a scotch.
And if you could see, I think, yes, we got the overhead shot. As he's stirring, you could see that wonderful cheese starting to kind of pull in there, and it's mixing in beautifully.
It really is. So the cheese is now completely integrated. I'm going to watch my salt on this one because cheese also has a little salt on it. But we got this little bit.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, all of it. Go for it. There you go.
I mean, come on, really?
Leave nothing to waste. Another great chef said that to me one time.
A little bit of black pepper over the top.
Look at that.
And then I've got my gorgonzola. Now the gorgonzola, you want to just kind of dot into the pan as such. Now why I didn't put that in there, because gorgonzola is such a beautiful blue cheese. I want it to be some little wonderful surprises as you're eating this dish.
There you go.
I want you to just be like, whoa, gorgonzola, when you're getting into it. So, awesome.
And when you're watching this type of show and you see an amazing chef, everything is beautiful. Down to the pepper, and they'll do this action. It's perfect and beautiful every time. And sometimes you get home and you try it, and this pepper, it's on the stove. You walk to the kitchen the next day, it's on your. The chef can hit it every time. Perfect.
Every time.
So I guess it's technique.
It is technique.
All right, what are we putting in now?
All right, a little bit of fresh mozzarella that we made.
Awesome, fresh mozzarella.
And we're gonna let that just rest right there and kind of become homogeneous and get happy. So now I can focus on my missing spoon.
All right, would you tell me what we need? I'll have my producer grab it.
Spoon real quick, just a metal spoon.
Metal spoon.
Yeah.
I think I can snag one off one of the tables. That's, I probably used it earlier to sneak a bite when you weren't looking.
That's what the plastic ones are there for. All right, we can get rid of this. There we go.
Where is my producer? Normally he's standing like 5 feet from me. Metal spoon.
One of these.
One of these.
No, that's too big.
No.
Too big.
All right, no problem.
Okay, so my fry oil is really smoking. It's looking great. I'm going to go ahead and plate this while
This
we're
is
waiting.
awesome. Look at this. Fantastic.
And a little 100% olive oil just over the top is always a nice thing. And just another little scotch of black pepper, maybe a little on the edge. So we did something.
It's exactly what I'm talking about. Look, it's not everywhere. It's perfect every time.
And then we're gonna get our beautiful yolks. Now see how I'm plating this, y'all? This is kind of cool. Straight down, and then I'm gonna come over next layer, right on top.
Ah,
Okay?
makes this kind of a nice family style.
Thank you, young man. You're the best. Absolutely. family
Look
style.
at that. Wow. Oh, same thing with the olive oil?
Always finished up with a little bit of olive oil. Just to make sure I did this right.
Oh, okay. How do you feel? Because it looks terrific. And you just set off the green light.
Holy
so
Toledo.
I'll go as well.
I love it.
Piece of that bacon love.
Okay. Next
hope-
are my donuts.
Oh.
How's everyone feeling? What do you think? Little pillows?
Fabulous.
Little cheese? Came out so good. I'm so happy with it. All right. Real little trick I'm going to show you guys very quickly if I can just get your eyes. These are 2 metal spoons. We're going to wash the spoons in the oil. If we skip this step, you're going to be scraping dough off of these things forever. These will sizzle right into these fritters.
So if you're at home, this is very important. He gave those spoons just a little bath first. Before I
Exactly.
started reaching.
And you can see I'm just dropping these in ever so gently. We can allow them to get a little dark, that's okay.
It's not taking it very long to start getting that wonderful color. Whoa! Look at that.
And that's the beautiful thing about cast iron that I just absolutely love. It holds its heat. Once you get it going, it's like a freight train, just never stops.
I'm really loving watching this. You got that beautiful color so quickly, but there was a nice surprise for me. When you flipped it over, now you've got that great golden brown, and it's domed. It's dome shaped.
Correct. And you know, yeah, it is dome shaped because that's exactly what the fry oil is doing, is pushing the dough up, it's working against it. There's moisture, frying is a battle between moisture escaping and oil trying to get in.
I'll absolutely admit, Brian, it was a surprise. The first one I saw you flip over, I was like, oh, wow, it's beautiful. And then the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. Beautiful. And it doesn't take long, I'm guessing.
No, these
Look
are
at
quick.
that.
Very quick.
Again, for the sake of our studio audience and some of the materials out there and the space on the tables, we're going to have this done for you in the back. But Brian has got these coming out. They look absolutely beautiful.
And I can sit here and do this all day long. I can make donuts all day long. So again, we've got the ricotta in there. The ricottas kind of become homogeneous with the dough. As they sit on the plate, they will tend to get a little more cooked.
Ah, okay.
But-
So if you rest them, they'll cook through.
Absolutely.
All right.
And I'm just going to pop them out.
Look at this. Wow. Every element here, my whole family is going to love. I cannot wait to recreate this, which I will do tomorrow night.
That's off. I have a little powdered sugar. So remember we were talking about how this is the original mac and cheese?
Yes.
This is the original powdered donut. The
Ah.
one where you inhale it, you cough it in when you're taking a bite out of it. Now granted, it's come a long way because these little powdered donuts, although as good as they are.
Look at this.
And you can see the oil, you can see this. The oil actually turns
got
it
you on
into
overhead,
a little,
yes.
it turns it into a little glaze over the top. You can see how that just kind of glazes over because it's capturing, the beautiful thing about this, it's capturing any residual oil that's on here.
And the wonderful sweet
Yeah.
smell, that donutty smell coming from it. Again, we couldn't do smell-o-vision. That's why we love our studio audience there. They're going to be getting this. It's going to hit you in a few moments. It's wonderful. Get you nice and ready to eat.
So this is another little cool technique, is to hold it sideways and hit your hand. And this will be able to get you a little more exact, because if we tried to do this, it would go everywhere.
I like that move rather than trying to get it to yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Once you get a little older, it just happens naturally, but you know, I got a couple more years, so.
I'm going to let Chef continue to powder these donuts. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a part of the show where we like to take a few minutes and talk to you about who is going to be next on the show. Well, guess what? After these episodes, we have done wonderful. The viewers are going up and up and up and into the thousands. That's why I'm excited to show you what we are going to be doing for an upcoming episode of You Are Cooks Live. Watch this.
The next episode of You Are Cooks Live could be you. For full details, listen to Philip and continue watching You Are Cooks Live.
There you go. That is right. The next episode could be you. We are going to give the details in future correspondence that'll happen on the Pedrati's website. We'll get it out on social media. We may even talk to Brian a little bit about helping us judge that and find that next chef to come up here on the show. All right. So, Brian, where are we at right now? We've got this beautiful display.
Well, we have got this beautiful bread salad. It's completely homogenized now. You can see that green hue there from that pesto. Every bite is going to be a different flavor. That's what I love about this salad. It's an adventure as you're going through it. These little pillowy gnocchis, perfectly cooked, nice and fluffy. There's chunks of cheese that are kind of still together, but then other stuff is completely dissolved in. Of course, with that nice little sing of bacon, that kiss of smoke in there for that. And then, of course, we've got my little beautiful donuts, my little Sicilian donuts. Absolutely little nuggets of joy. They've been fried off. They're nice and sweet. I can smell the ricotta in there, and then just dusted with that powdered sugar. And we're done. How's yours food looking?
How do we do, audience? How did you do? I see some amazing plates out there.
Gnocchi.
Look at this.
Gnocchi.
All of those wonderful things. Ladies and gentlemen, give a huge round of applause. We're so happy to have him, Mr. Chef Brian West.
Thank you.
More information on Brian West, chefbrianwest.com. We'll also have that up on our Facebook page, Future Things. Brian, are we at the end here? Are we happy?
This is it. I'm ecstatic.
It. We'd like to thank a few people again, Pedrati's Ranch, for helping us make this happen. Of course, Cisco out there, Heart Brand Beef, MD Spine Care, and for the aprons that you see some of us when we do the cutaways, Robin Clark at Stiction, Texas. We're excited to have you here. Thank you very much. Help us share these great episodes. Again, special thank you to my friend Brian West. We'll see you on the next episode, You Are Cooks Live. Thank you, everyone. Awesome. Thank you.